we are looking at the Goodreads best books of 2022, and let me tell you, this is gonna be fun. I never vote in these things. I literally only use them to check on what I want in my upcoming TBR. And I like to see what books are popular because I usually end up not reading popular books. I just end up reading whatever the fuck I want to read. So we're gonna go into it, but we're not gonna go through all the categories. We're just gonna go through a couple of ones that I usually read. I read fiction, fantasy, science fiction, graphic novels and comics, young adult fiction, young adult fantasy, and then middle grade and children, because you just can't get better than Rick Riordan or John Flanagan or Redwall or Warriors or Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Anyways, we're gonna get into it. Let's see what's up. Best fiction. Our Missing Hearts. I'm going to drink a glass of water. I'm just scrolling. Nothing is really catching my eye. Nothing is really catching my eye in this one. I'm not gonna lie. An enchanting tale filled with magical realism and moments of pure love that won't let you go. Between the real and imaginary, there are stories that take flight in the most extraordinary ways. Right off, the sudden death of one of Zoe's new neighbors sets off a search that leads to the island's famous author and to a long estranged relative of the sisters. Each of them has a story, and each story has an ending which hasn't been written. That actually does not sound bad. I'm going to put this on my TBR. Yeah, I'll read it. I'll probably check it out when it comes. I'll see if it's in my public library or not. Next. No. Fantasy. Yes, sir. Okay. Bro, everybody is raving about Legends and Lattes. It's cozy. I'm gonna put it on my TBR. I'm going to. War of Two Queens. Probably not yet. It's in the Blood and Ashtrays, and I haven't decided if I want to read that or not. Stardust Thief. Neither here nor there, but long ago, Louis Al-Nazari is a midnight merchant, a criminal who, with the help of her Jinn bodyguard, hunts. Okay, nope, we're reading this. Anything that has to do with jinns, jinny, demons, summoning, I love, I eat it up. That's on the TBR. 100% that's on the TBR. House of Sky and Breath. Bro, everybody loves this book. So many, 4.52 on the ratings out of 161,000 ratings published this year. Wow. That's not going on my TBR because I haven't read book one yet. So I just, yeah. Babel, Babel. Oh my god. Everybody is raving about it. Every time I see people talk about it, they end up getting emotional. And I don't want to read an emotional book. I have no interest in reading an emotional book. I really just want to have a fun ride, and that's about it. So, I don't think I'll actually read Babel until probably a couple of years later if I'm ever feeling like, I want to take the leap. River Enchanted, The Book Eaters, Nettle and Bone, Daughter of the Moon Goddess, Ordinary Monsters, Thistlefoot. Okay. This is something weird, right? Because Atlas 6 was actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was published in 2020, but it's on the 2022 list, which I believe is because Macmillan republished it this year, which is why it technically counts as 2022. It is a great book. It is a nice 8 or 9 out of 10 on the fantasy scale, but I don't know why I don't agree with it being on this list, because it technically came out before. But I mean, because it was republished, people obviously love it, and so it does deserve a spot in the top. It's just I don't know if I would have put it on this year. It is a great book though. I've already read this actually, but it's a great book. Book 2 just came out. If you haven't read it, go check out my review on it. It's on this channel. Not bad, not as good as book 1, but it got the job done. Stephen King Fairy Tale. So this is more on the thriller side of Stephen King's novels. Oh my god, that is a summary. That is not a summary, that's its own book review. Hello. This, I believe, is more of a fantasy thriller mystery kind of thing. I haven't read it. I don't plan to read it. I don't really read Stephen King like that. When Women Were Dragons is really interesting. I saw this on Meg's Tea Room on TikTok. Love her account. Learn about the mass dragoning of 1955, which is 300,000 women spontaneously transformed into dragons and changed the world. Ooh, okay. I love dragons, full stop, end of statement. I just love dragons. So this is going on the TBR. Brandon Sanderson. Not reading Brandon Sanderson. Don't come at me. The World We Make. What is this? Magic and myth. They're all magic and myth. It's all about politics, mayors, all that stuff. I'm not interested. I don't get into politics when I read books. I just want a fun ride. I get enough politics in today's time. Science fiction. Usually I don't find much in science fiction because I like fantasy a little bit more, or speculative fiction, which is like a step above science fiction but not all the way to fantasy. I will say, out of all of these books, the most I've personally heard about is Nana the Ninth, which is actually the third book in this series. The first one's called Gideon the Ninth. I've heard a lot of good things about this series. I guess, Tamsin Muir really, hit the spot with this one. But not really anything that catches my eye. What's this huge-ass bird? Two unlikely heroes thrust into a post-apocalyptic mission to restore humanity 30 years after the Great Fatigue. Why is there a bird? That's what I want to know. Is a bird part of the story? If the bird is not deadly race to save humankind, no, I don't care about apocalypse. Give me a bird. Is the bird relative to the story? If you've read Primitives by Eric Krauss and the bird is relative to the story, let me know. If it is, I will read it. If it is not, I will not read it. I'm ending it there. We're going forward. Horror, humor, non-fiction, memoir, autobiography, history. Woo! Okay. Bro, I love Sarah Anderson's art on Twitter. I haven't read it. I haven't read this book, but I love her art, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of want to make me read this because it might just be a really cute, fun thing to read. Secondly, Lee Bardugo and Danny Pendergast, definitely want to read this because it's part of the Grishaverse apparently, and it's like a prequel in a sense. It's a graphic novel prequel, and that's so interesting. I'm going to read it. I'm actually going to read Shadow and Bone in December. I've decided. So that'll be a good thing to add to the list. Dude, wait, before we get to those, I have a lot to say about those. Stomper, I heard that was cute. I actually heard that was very cute. Okay, now, Killing Stalking, everybody loves it. I don't care. Lore Olympus. If you haven't read Lore Olympus, first of all, I'm not caught up, to be completely honest, but what I am is a devout fan of the Lore Olympus audio series that's on YouTube. I forget what it's called. I'll look it up real quick to tell you guys. Here we go. It is the Helvetica Dubs audio. Basically, they read Lore Olympus and they animate the webtoon pages and stuff, and it is beautiful. It is truly, in my opinion, peak way to enjoy the story. It is just that. I love the Lore Olympus, the audio reading of it. It's amazing. It is truly amazing. I would highly recommend anybody who's into romance, fantasy, the Greeks. It is great. Their voice acting is so good. I might go back and start it again because it's just that good. I actually do want to catch up because I have no idea where they went after those first set of videos. I don't know what happened to them. So I'll probably go back and check that out. Young adult fiction. I am here, but nothing really catches my eye. I've heard about a lot of these, but I think these are more fiction, not fantasy. So it's not necessarily. Oh, yo, the Inheritance games. Okay, this I heard about, which is really interesting. It's basically, let's just read about it. Avery's fortune, life, and loves are on the line in the game that everyone will be talking about. To inherit billions, all Avery Kyle Grams has to do is survive a few more weeks living in the Hawthorne house. So basically, I think somebody, the patriarch or the main wealthy person died and left, or was killed, I don't know, and left the names of who will get his inheritance in the will. But I think there's a game or some sort of ploy around it, which is why Avery was invited into the house. I think she's somehow related to that person, and other people are living in the house, and they're trying to figure out who killed this person, who gets the inheritance, all that stuff. It actually sounds kind of interesting. The mystery and the thriller sounds actually really interesting, and I kind of want to check it out. But that's book 3. What is book 1? Inheritance games. Oh, book 1 is called The Inheritance Games. Okay. Has a plan for a better future, survive high school, win a scholarship, get out. But her fortunes change, and is when billionaire Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves Avery virtually his entire fortune. To catch, Avery has no idea why, or who Tobias Hawthorne is. To receive her inheritance, Avery must move into a sprawling secret passage-filled Hawthorne house where every room bears the old man's touch and his love of puzzles, riddles, and codes. Yes. You know what? Fuck it. Reading this book. I don't read books like this, but I'm reading this book. First to die at the end. That's just paradoxes upon paradoxes in the title, and I get why it's on here then. Just from that. All my rage Sabata here. Pakistan and India. Lahore, Pakistan. Then Misbah's a dreamer and storyteller. Tawfiq, so it's Muslim, until the fight, which destroys their bond with the swift fury of stars exploding. What? The fight? The fight? Capital F? What does that mean? Now Sal scrambles to run the family motel as his mother Misbah's health fails and his grieving father loses himself to alcoholism. Noor, meanwhile, walks on a herring tightrope, working at her. He did not abbreviate Salahuddin to Sal. I get it, but it's just sad to think about. It's really sad to think when people are given such great ethnic names and they have to abbreviate them so certain people can pronounce them. Science fiction and fantasy. There we go. This is Ever After. Carry On meets Arthurian legend, the original whimsical young adult fantasy about what happens to the chosen one, what happens after the chosen one wings the kingdom and has to get married to keep it to stay alive. Eric hadn't thought about that. He and his ragtag group of questing fans are at a bit of a loss. Is this like a sequel? Or is this like a standalone? Either way, it's kind of interesting. I kind of want to read it, but no. Wait, 1 sec, sorry. No. Oh. What? Did it move it around? Down here. You got me. You got me, algorithm. You got me. That looks kind of interesting, like a nice little read. I'll probably look into that. Kingdom of the Feared, Carrie Men's. I'm not too interested in that. Kingdom. Any other kingdoms here before I move on? No. Any other kingdoms here? No. But thorns are here. Thorns are back. Thorns here. Thorns there. Roses, and there's probably thorns on those roses. You know a theme with young adult fiction fantasy authors? In the book cover, roses, thorns, and the color black. Everybody loves that. As you can see, roses, thorns, color black. Roses, thorns, a little bit of black, but not too much. Flowers, probably thorns there because the color black. Violet, thorns there, the color black. It is a trend, trope thing that you do. It's popular, so that's probably why it sells. But it's so common right now. I do want to read Sunbear Trials. I've heard so many good things about this. And the fact that it's, because I originally saw the cover and I thought it was more of like a juvenile fiction book, like a Rick Riordan book, but it's more of a young adult book. And it's a Mexican-inspired fantasy from Aiden Thomas. And these are, they're semi-dioses, so demigods. Interesting. I'll actually read that. I've heard really good things about it. I wonder if I can read that before the year ends. I'll check it out. I'll try. Okay, Tracy Dion's Bloodmarked has also been taking book talk by storm, and I don't know why. I do know why. It's probably a really good book. It's book 2. The first book is Legendborn. The second one is Bloodmarked. But apparently it's a really good book. I just fucked my mic up. 1 second. But Bloodmarked seems really interesting. I usually don't like to read books that are immediately popular right now because I like to read them knowing that I want to read this, not because it's popular, but because I want to. I don't want to have to read it because it's popular on Book Talk right now, and if I talk about it on Book Talk, I might get like more views or things like that. I don't like to do that. I'll probably read Legendborn sometime next year. And then The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, I've heard decent things about. Belladonna, heard about it. People love it. Not me. Hotel Magnifique, though, for fans of Caraval and the Night Circus. So I actually want to read Caraval and I want to read the Night Circus. I thought I bought those books. I didn't. Just kidding. I'm gonna get them from my public library. Kind of want to read Caraval and the Night Circus at some point. So I might come back to Hotel Magnifique. The Dragon's you know what I just said about? No, it's a book 2. Shiori, the only princess of Kyoto, has a secret. Forbidden magic runs through her veins. Normally she conceals it well, but on the morning of her betrothal ceremony, Shiori loses control. At first, her mistake seems like a stroke of luck, forestalling the wedding she never wanted, but it also catches the attention of the Raikama, her stepmother. I'll put it on my TBR only because I want to read The Dragon's Promise, which is book 2, and it has the word dragon in it. I'm shallow. I'm so sorry, I'm shallow. It is what it is. That's just how I am. It is what it is. Brendan Sanderson, not reading him. Come at me if you want. V.E. Schwab, Gallant. Even the world we live in has every shadow. There's a place with much touch. A scene where the shadow meets its source. Olivia Pryor has grown up in Maryland School for Girls, and she has... Pause. I just thought about Charlie Bone. Have y'all read the Charlie Bone series, though? That is top tier juvenile fiction. That's just... It was a tangent. I'm sorry. We're gonna get back to Gallant. Yet when Olivia arrives, no one is expecting her. Secrets, and she's determined to uncover them. So Gallant is a location. She finds herself in a place that is gallant, but not. So it's like the play on the word gallant, as in the location, but it's not a gallant place. Okay. I'll put it on my TV. I probably won't get to it ever. Okay, that's disrespectful. I will get to it at some point, just not soon. Like I just had read a book called, I think it was Heart of Thorns. Did not like it. I'm not trusting a book with the word thorns in it for a while now. It scarred me. It was so bad it scarred me. I'm not reading another book called Thorns. We're moving on to middle grade and children's. This I saw at Target, and it kind of looks interesting, and I kind of want to read it. Rise of the School for Good and Evil. It looks very basic and very predictable, but I just want a good read that looks basic and predictable. Not gonna lie. Keeper Lost. I can't even read the text. This was not great cover design. I can't even read the text. It's blurred in there. Ravenfall? Okay, we have Celtic, we have Magic, we have Crow. Oh, this is the author of the Crow. Sorry. I told you I'm shallow. I'm looking for reasons why I should read this book. But it has the word Raven in it, so I'm gonna add it to my TBR. That's just how I am, I'm sorry. That is just how I am, I'm sorry. Aru Shah and the Nectar of Immortality. The Bandava series, which is Bandava book 5. You know, I kind of want to go through Rick Riordan's kind of book publishing group, whatever his group is called. And why do they randomize them? Keep them in the same order. Jeez. I want to go through his company and see just like what other authors out there that are making books that are, you know, similar to his. These are very similar books to Rick Riordan's, different mythology, but kind of the same thing. You have a group of children, teenagers, whatever it is, magic, quests, all that stuff. And it looks interesting. It looks fun. So I would be down to read some of those. Bro, wait a minute. I don't know how I skipped it, but I just saw this. The Pennymoors. When her brother vanishes in the night, along with all she saw. One sec. Pausing. I clicked on it. Where did it go again? Stop moving it around. Okay. The Pennymoors. Anyways, when her brother vanishes into the night, along with all she thought to be true of magic, Parker Pennymore must unmask family secrets, travel far beyond the castle walls, and convince her sisters Quinn and Avon to break a few laws along the way. But what's a hero's journey without a little rebellion? Okay. One of my favorite stories about how a book came to be was me, the author, wrote this story for my child. For some reason, whether it's a set of short stories or a bedtime story like this, and then it turned into a novel. I just love that idea. It fills me with such joy that it's just like, I did this because I wanted to, people liked it, I put it up, oh, it's a best-selling book now. I don't know why, I just love it. It's such a heartwarming and such a nice story. I love it. I'm gonna put Pennymore on the list. That is about it. So, we looked at a couple of categories, and I'm telling you right now, I don't look at these categories to vote on them. I purely look at them to see what books are interesting and what do I want to read. It's the same parallel of when you have anime coming out on my anime list and you see what's coming out in the next season. I use Goodreads the same way. I just go through the list of books and see what looks interesting in the genres I like to read. So, if you liked any of these books, if you're thinking about reading any of these books, if you find any of them interesting, leave them down below in the comments, like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time for the next video.